Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly values, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hello, everyone. How are we doing? I wanted to go ahead and wrap this up. I wanted to wrap up the situation with the video that Melyssa Ford did, because there was a couple of more things that I wanted to say. And I have heard and have been trying to follow the Joy Taylor saga as it unfolds. Why everybody trying to say she black? Why all of a sudden she black? Because is she biracial? Is her daddy black? I'm asking. So the good news, completely off any topic. I'm back in the gym. I had to share it with you because I shared when I injured myself, and that took me out the gym, and I was mad because you lose your progress. So my knee will never be 100% again. It'll never. I can still feel it, the weakness in it, and all that kind of stuff. But we back. So that was actually good news. So anyway, right, Miss Amira, because when she become black, when this lawsuit popped up, was she black when she was throwing her thought pocket all around Fox Sports 1? Was she black then? Because has she ever claimed that she was black? I think a lot every day that I did not need to have like a surgery or anything like that was such a long recovery process. I really am thankful for that. I'm not complaining. Says she claimed she was, but y'all heard her claim it. Oh, okay. I'll talk about that because I've been trying. The reason I didn't talk about it today is twofold. Number one, because I said I was going to do a part 2 of this. And number two, I wanted to get the story more straight rather than just pop up because it's hot, because it's going to be hot for a while as this unfolds. I saw they was trying to pull Shannon. Shannon said he had nothing to do with that. I don't blame him. Shannon, don't let them pull you into no foolishness. Do not let them put your name in no foolishness. But anyway, we're going to go back to Miss Melyssa Ford. And I've put us back to the point where she was talking about the guy that she was with that, you know, didn't mind that she wanted to have a menage with him and the homie. That didn't mind no matter how scantily clad she was dressed. He didn't mind. And then she moved on to another subject real smooth like. So we're going to pick that up.
Head back and roared with laughter. And I was like, wow, that was not the response I was expecting. And he said, do you want me to make that happen? I was like, oh my God, that is so sweet. No, absolutely not. It is just a fantasy. It is meant to stay there. But just the fact that you are open to it and don't make me feel shame for feeling this way. He was like, why would I make you feel that way? And Tony, I don't know. He maybe he was just an anomaly, but wherever we would go, no matter how scantily I was dressed, he would let me move around the party as I felt the need to and interact with anybody. And he would just sit there and just watch me with a smile. At one point, somebody stood next to him and asked him, like, you know, aren't you afraid to let her walk around like that? And he was like, absolutely not. She's going home with me. I don't have anything to be worried about. And you want to know something? He was absolutely right. His level of confidence and knowing that I had eyes for nobody but him was what made him so much more sexy to me, so much more attractive, and made me like and love him so much more.
Now, before I allow her to continue, I want the ladies to understand something about our sexuality as women. The first thing that I need my lionesses to embrace is that if you freaky, that's okay. That is all right. It's perfectly fine. Be freaky. All right. If you are a woman that's not scared to sort of be free with your husband within the confines of a marriage, please do that. Please do that. We do not like being made ashamed for wanting to be freaky. She was relieved that the man that she wanted to be with didn't shame her. The difference, the very key difference that you must make is the difference between public and private. Public, bad. Private, good. That's all you need to know. Freaky for the public, bad. Freaky for the husband, thumbs up. Okay? Now, everybody has a different sexual temperament. If you're not particularly freaky, that's okay too. But if you marry a man that wants you to be freaky, allow him to open that part of you up. Okay? Allow your husband to open that part of you up. Men, key thing for women, especially women who love you, they're sexual with you, but they not necessarily freaky with you, and you would like her to be. The thing about women is that we can love you and want to give you that, or want to explore that part of our sexuality, but we have to feel like you're not judging us badly. Okay? Because we want to give that energy to you. Because we're not whores, we have not given this energy to everybody. But you're our husbands. We love you. Even if you have a woman that's not particularly super open sexually, know that she likely has not been sexually open to anybody else either. So when she gets to you and you marry her and she feels safe emotionally, right? Like she can divulge things to you and you don't throw it back up in her face. Because one of the worst slanders that a lioness can hear is to be looked at like a whore, and we not whores. So if you have a wife and you want her to open up more sexually, you find her so sexy, but she's a little bit timid about different sexual acts and things of that nature. Okay? You want her to open up some more. You gotta open that door for her to walk through. Open the door for her to walk through. Don't make her think that you think she's bad if she does it. As long as she knows you don't think she's bad for doing that with you, then she'll do it with you. She'll be more open to the freaky stuff you got going on in your head that you want to do. You know, tell her that, can we try this out, babe? And she'll be like, I don't know. But coax her into it. Coax her into it. Talk to her about it. And if she don't like it, she don't like it. But don't knock it till you try it. You understand? Some stuff is like, I'm not doing that. I don't care what you say. But some stuff is like, she just ain't never did that, or she's timid about that. Try to coax her into it. Let her feel safe about it. And then she'll try, because she'll try to please you. She'll try to please you. She'll know you want it. And never know, ladies, you never know. Your husband, I want you to try something, and you didn't think about that thing. And then when you try, you be like, oh, wait a minute. I kind of like that. I kind of like doing that. It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. I don't want the married lionesses to think that it's bad if you are open sexually with your husband. So that was just a little marital tidbit. I don't know who needed to hear that, but somebody may have needed to hear that. I don't know, but we're going to go back.
I wish that I could say that the vast majority of my relationships went like this, but they didn't. They didn't. I'm going to take a sip of wine. I was raised as an only child. My father was a Rolling Stone, and I am the youngest of 11. But I am my mother's only child, And I was raised in a 2-parent household, just me on my own. I used to wish constantly for a brother and a sister or a twin. It was around 6 when I figured out the twin thing was not going to happen. But I really wanted a brother or a sister because I was lonely. And I was smack in the middle of a very tumultuous marriage. Some of my earliest memories as a child are of my parents arguing and physically fighting each other. At one point, I was.
Now, what you're hearing now, whether she means for it to be this way or not, what you're hearing now is both her reason and her excuse as to why she has not had a successful relationship. And there is a difference between a reason and an excuse. The way that I like to explain that is that a reason is you have a reason for something to happen. An excuse is for something not to happen. Did that make sense to y'all? The reasons, you have a reason to do something, or there's a reason for something to happen, positive. The excuse is for something to not happen, or why something didn't happen, or why something can't happen. That's kind of negative. So what she's doing right here is that she is giving you the background of the household that she grew up in, the relationship as she saw it and experienced it between her mother and father, which she's saying it was not good. It was not a good, loving relationship. They was fighting each other all the time. And she was an only child. Okay. So you're hearing both her reason and really her excuse for not being able to deal with a man in a reasonable way.
5, and I got in the middle of my parents physically fighting each other. My mom was holding a glass pitcher above her head and was prepared to smash it on my dad's head. And I want to say that this was in defense of herself. This was her protecting herself. So, needless to say, my first introduction to marriage and how men and women, the expectation of how they interact with each other on a romantic level, was very, 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 very traumatizing. And they didn't do anything to try to correct it. They didn't sit me down and explain things to me or apologize to me. I think that that's something that parents really miss the mark on a lot of the time, is that you are not perfect. You are human. And to be a human being is to err. And sometimes you do things to unintentionally harm your children or traumatize them, and they deserve an explanation and they deserve an apology. When my parents were not arguing with each other, they were staying as far away from each other as possible. And what that meant was I was left home alone a lot. So, one of the main reasons why my parents never said no to me when I wanted another animal. I had nothing but cats and dogs and birds and fish all over the house. I feel like animals saved me. It sounds strange, like I'm like, Mowgli or something from the what's that book called? The Jungle Book? Yeah, I'm Mowgli from the Jungle Book. But yeah, that was my reality.
Now, I want to touch on that. This is where the ultimate selfishness came from. She didn't have a sibling to share anything with, not share experiences, not share toys, not share nothing. She lived in a house where the way in which her parents tried to apologize or make up for where they lacked was by buying her gifts and buying her stuff that she wanted. So she wanted pets, she wanted cats and dogs, she wanted this and that. So therefore, her parents bought a bunch of stuff. And sometimes parents will do that. They don't raise you right. They know they're not. So their answer to that, for their lacking of parental skills, is to buy their child. I'm going to buy your childhood. I'm going to buy stuff so that you can say that you had a good childhood. When in reality, you really didn't have a good childhood. They just tried to cover it up with stuff that you wanted. And the thing that they miss is that the child wants you as the parent. They want the parents. They want the parents' approval, and they want the acceptance, and they want all of all of that stuff. They want the validation from parents and all of those things. So now you're hearing how she internalized all of that. Not only did she internalize it in a way that she's using as a crutch to say why she can't have meaningful or healthy or long-lasting relationships with men, or why she picks the men that she picks. You can see that part, but you can also see where her sense of entitlement come from. Well, I should just be given things, you know? I should just be given stuff. When I say I want something, I should just get it. Duh. My mom did it. My dad did it. So what are you waiting on? You supposed to do stuff for me. I don't necessarily have to do nothing for you. Right? And this is another thing. There are women that go through stuff like this. But the problem with it is there's no accountability attached to it. Your bad experiences as a child, things that you saw, things that you may have experienced that might have hurt you or traumatized you or changed your psyche on things or put you down a particular trajectory that may not have been positive. Those things happen. It happens to a lot of people. But the problem is that when you get to a certain age, you can no longer use the reasons become the excuses. The reasons turn into the excuses. So at 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, they might have been the reasons why she could not maintain a normal relationship. Might have been the reasons. As you age, they become the excuses. Leaving out of your 20s to head into your 30s without reflection, healing, looking at certain patterns and realizing that, okay, I may have went through these things. I saw these things when I was growing up, but I can't allow those things to run my life the rest of my life, because I'm making decisions based and born out of the foolishness that was hoisted onto me. But that doesn't mean I have to carry it. That doesn't mean I have to carry it. And this is why I always say the things that you went through as a child are not your fault, but they can be your problem. Right? For those of us who had traumatic childhoods and things of that nature, that was never our fault. If you were a child and you went through a bunch of traumatic experiences at the hands of the adults in your life, whether they made certain decisions or for you, against you, selfishly, and didn't care how you turned out, that was never your fault. You were not at fault because you were a child, and it was not your responsibility to know what to do and how to move, and that was your parents' responsibility. And if they failed in that responsibility, that was their failure. However, it may have given you problems that manifest themselves in relationships, that manifest themselves in many different ways. Maybe you can't hold on to jobs. Maybe you can't hold on to people. Maybe you can't. You see what I'm saying? It has many different effects, and those effects will be negative. But at the same time, once you realize that a lot of your problems, a lot of the things, the choices that you're making are rooted in psychological things that you picked up through your traumatic childhood. Once you realize that the decisions that you're making are a direct result and correlation between the way you think, and the way you think is directly connected to how you grew up and it was negative, now it's your problem. Your problem, not your mom's problem, not your dad's problem. You may want to try to go back and get clarity or closure if you can. And if you can, wonderful. Sometimes you cannot. Regardless of whether you can or can't get closure from the people that hurt you and things of that nature, it's still your problem. It's still your problem that you must fix and that you must handle. No one's going to handle it for you. So being at her age, still having not worked through the different things that led to the way she carried herself in relationships and the way that she showed up with different men and the way that she showed up, you know what I'm saying, and all of these types of things. If she showed up in a negative way consistently and she never made that connection, or she did make the connection and use it as a crutch, well, this is why, and she never fixed it, that's a problem right there. That's a problem within a problem. Because again, whose fault is this? You can't go back to, I grew up watching a dysfunctional relationship between my mother and my father, or I've never witnessed a functional relationship between anybody. It's a lot of us as Black people that may not have witnessed a functional or necessarily a healthy relationship. No excuses. Once you become an adult and you start moving through adulthood, when you're a really young adult, you might not even be recognizing this stuff. But once life establishes certain patterns, and those patterns are negative, and you don't like the outcomes of those things, and a lot of that stuff is your decision and all of that type of stuff, then you have to start making these connections. You have to start working on that. Waiting until you old to work on something, that's a no-go. Because all throughout all this time, who have you hurt? How many people have you touched negatively with your foolishness? The worst thing in the world is to see some grown person my age still crying about what their mama did to them. Still crying about what their daddy did. Okay. See, at a certain point, it's like, and the thing that you have to come to is that the stuff that I went through, those things cannot direct the rest of my life. So what how, Sway? supposed to let those things direct my whole life. And I don't have nothing to do with how my life turned out. And I get to blame my mama. And I'm 99 years old. That don't make no sense. So you just never fix that. Well, then my mama, man, look, your mama probably dead. Whatever she did, it's something. She got other things to worry about now. So here you is, grown and almost old, and you still worrying about what your mama did. But your mama ain't the one that made you get on these drugs. Your mama ain't the one that made you show up as a failure in all these relationships. Your mama ain't the one that made you show up a failure in the world. Like, that's not your mama's fault. You realize that's not your mama's fault, right? That at some point you were making these decisions, yes. And that you were just making bad decisions. Yes, you were just making bad decisions. We don't want to take accountability for that. And that's what you're hearing her do. She's not saying it directly, but there's a reason she's telling you about the relationship that she witnessed between her mother and father. There's a reason she's talking about that. And the reason that she's bringing it up, because nobody asked her for this information. Nobody asked her for none of the information, matter of fact. But the reason why she's bringing it up is so that we can say, oh, well, she never did see a good relationship. So how could she show up good in a relationship? That's cap. That's cap. You don't know cheating is a bad thing to do in a relationship. You knew it was bad when that other man was doing it to you. Right? The one that she was so in love with. And he was cheating and this and that. It hurt when he did it to you. It was bad when he did it to you. Right? You knew immediately that it was bad. But did you know it was bad when you did it to that first guy? Talking about, well, I was just young. And the other guy was just young. How about that? How about that? The other guy that you love so much that was cheating on you and you claim was beating on you and all this other kind of stuff, he was just exploring his options, correct? Because if you found him that kind of sexy, I'm pretty sure other women found him sexy and he was going for it. Right? We're going to get back to her, but after these messages, we'll be right back. Because I need everybody to go to ashkicking.com. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. If you want your skin to be looking its best in 2025, then you definitely need to go and get some Ash Kicking body butter. You don't want to be ashy in the wintertime. The wintertime, sometimes we don't lotion up like we should because we covered up, but you be ashy under the coat. So we don't want to have our little ashy hands in the gloves and all of that type of stuff. Ashy feet don't feel good going into socks. So what you want to do is you want to go to ashkicking.com and pick you up some body butter and smooth all of that out. If this is going to be your first order, take advantage of the 10% discount using the promo code Crimson. Oh, you guys are bam, 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 bam. You got to hit the like button. Bam, bam. You got to go ahead and hit the like button. Thank you, Dre the Dreams. I agree. In the bedroom, she got to be my freak. And thank you, Louis B. Says she's a victim of her own beauty and booty. She misconstrued all the lustful attention from men to be more than it was. Not comprehending men have two heads and appealing solely to the one without the brain doesn't mean anything. Thank you so much. All right. And thank you, Miss Mia, for your super sticker. I appreciate you, sweetheart. I appreciate you. Always contributing and supporting. All right. So we're going to go back.
My parents would come home late at night. The animals were the ones that took care of me. Thankfully, I didn't burn down the house. But this left an imprint on my brain as to the way that men and women interact with each other. And it left me with a very serious internalized distrust of men. I think that this is where I developed the disconnect of wanting to create progeny. You know, I just did not feel that urge like other women have to have children. And it is definitely intertwined with what I witnessed from a very early age as to my parents and their dysfunction. I ended up getting an IUD implanted in my uterus. And when I
Did not say that was her excuse for not being able to show up properly in relationship. So at this big age, you didn't get over your mistrust of men? I gotta call cap on that. The reason I'm calling cap on that is because you kept getting into these relationships, these serious relationships, serious enough to go towards proposals and such. You didn't tell that first man that you were breaking it off because you just don't really trust men and you have trust issues and you got this issue and that issue. You told us that you told that man that you wasn't done popping that thought pocket. And that's why you wasn't trying to settle down. That's what you said. That's what you said. We didn't say that. You just told us that's what you said. You said when you saw the ring, you left out, you packed your stuff, you went away, you called him, wanted to have a conversation, and you said that the reason that you did all of that is because he, was just as smothering you. You tried to almost make it like he was doing something to you, but you really couldn't formulate that up because he really wasn't doing nothing to you. And then so you just had to break down and come clean and say what it really was that your coochie was hot. And he wasn't hitting it right. He was a nice guy. He was a good guy, but he wasn't hitting it right. That's what, this isn't perfect. That's what that meant. That meant he wasn't tearing her out the frame. Okay? He was trying to have that little safe sex that he wanted to have. He was trying to have that sex that men like to have with you when they respect you. And she wanted to be disrespected in that bedroom. Okay? He trying to have this little Puritan sex. And she want to get smutted. And he was trying to be like, no, but you're my wife. I can't do it. He couldn't do that. So therefore, when he wasn't tearing her all the way out the frame, she was like, nah, you don't be hitting it right though. Like you be doing everything else, but when it be coming time for sex, like you be, you know what I'm saying? You be, doing a lot with your shoulders in a missionary position. Like that ain't really doing nothing for me. See what I'm saying? That's what it was. Because it was the sex that kept her in a relationship that she was getting mollywopped every 3 to 5 business days. Huh? Now he was putting it down. Because a chick ain't gonna stay with a dude that, mollywop him every so many business days and he ain't putting it down in the bedroom either. Come on now. So that other guy that she liked so much, she had so much sex with him, she couldn't even think straight. That's what kind of sex he was having with her. But then he was popping that lip boy back to back. Anime eat the cake every 6 business days. That's what it was. You didn't tell us nothing about trust issues, ma'am. That's not what you said. That's what you're saying now after you give us the sad story about your mama and your daddy let the goldfish raise you. So you was raised by wild goldfish, and we were supposed to feel a certain way because you was raised by wild goldfish. And now you trying to tell us that the reason why you couldn't show up properly in these relationships is because you have man trust issues, not because your thought pocket was hotter than Wyatt Earp's 6-shooter, but you already told it.
I say that sucker was Fort Knox. Nothing was getting through that mofo. And it stayed in so long that it ultimately made the decision for me. But yet again, it's not like I felt any source of pressure. Which leads me to the last engagement when I was approximately 36, 37 years old. And I'll be honest, I thought that I was in love with this man, but I wasn't. What I was traumatized from an experience that had happened to me on a cruise ship where I was almost raped. And I could not be in the room alone with my own shadow. I was so traumatized by what had happened to me that when this man appeared, he was offering safety and security. He was physically huge, but he also came with a very secure lifestyle and a lot of security. And so I felt safe. And that's the only thing I was looking for. I was looking for safety. And so I lied to myself. And it was very easy to do that, to just dive in head first, forget the rocks below. And during the process of this relationship,
she lied to herself. You hear the accountability dodging? She didn't say she lied to him. She didn't say that I lied to this man. I had this man thinking that I wanted to be with him, but I didn't. I wanted what he had. So yet again, we hear another relationship where she's in it for all of her own selfish personal reasons. I have not heard one thing, not one thing. And she has explained at minimum 4 different relationships. And I have not heard any instance of her saying what she did for these men. Not one. I have not heard one thing that she said she did for them. Not one thing did she say or nothing about adding value to these men's lives or what she was doing to have them fall in love with her or how she was adding anything positive to them. She told these stories, and all of these stories was her breaking these dudes' hearts. The only one heart she didn't break was the Tony guy. She didn't break his heart because he didn't put his heart out there to be broke. Once she failed the whole questionnaire, he was like, "Oh, okay, you a bop." So he didn't put his heart out there for no bop. He's like, "Oh, you a bop." So when he was done with her, he moved on. That wasn't no broken heart. And the guy that she was in love with, her heart was broke. that his heart wasn't broke either. But even in the relationships that she is relaying to us as a positive relationship, I heard nothing about what she did for these men. I heard nothing about. I didn't even hear anything about how much she loved them. If it like goes off for you, just refresh. She didn't even say I love them. The one that she did love was whooping on her from what she said. You would love the one that whoop on your head. Every day he on your head top. You love his dirty drawers, as she said. Not the men that was willing to give you the world on a silver platter and love you and, you know what I'm saying, and all that kind of stuff. You ain't love them. It wasn't perfect. I guess him whipping on your biscuit every couple of days, that was perfect.
I started to realize that I was losing myself completely and totally. Friends had started to notice, you know, Mel, you're paying a lot of attention to his career, but what are you doing about yours? And I didn't want to hear it. I actually did not want to even hear my own name. I didn't know what it meant to be Melyssa Ford anymore. I had no clue. The sound of my own name gave me goosebumps, and not in the best way. I was having a massive identity crisis. And so when he proposed, he didn't even get the full words out before I said yes, because I was running from myself. I was running from my truth. I was running from.
See how she not taking accountability again? See, they're all hearing that. First, you're having an identity crisis. That what kind of mind space you got to be in to not like yourself to this degree? Not only what kind of mind space do you got to be in order to not like yourself to this degree, but what kind of lies do you got to tell to make this man? What face are you showing this man? Cause you lying every day that you breathing around this man. Everything you doing around him is performative and a lie. Notice how she's depthly avoiding saying that I strung him along and I was lying to him whole time. She's very clearly not saying that. She's not saying that at all. I was lying. I was fronting the whole relationship. I didn't really want him, and she's not saying that. I lied to myself. Really? You've been doing that the whole time, sweetheart. This didn't happen. She said that like that was something that was new. Security. She was getting a little older, and he was about the last train that were about to leave that station. And she said, I got to get a ticket right now and get on this train before I be left at this station. Ooh, we don't want to be left at this station today. I'm going to have to go ahead and get a ticket. People get ready. There's a train a-coming. Don't need no ticket. You just get on board. She was just gonna get on board. Just get on board. You heard what she said. He couldn't even get the words out before she said yeah.
The healing journey that was on the horizon, I was running and I was trying to put the blinders on. But there was always that like internal sense of that steel core of resilience and tenacity inside of me that said, Melyssa, this is not your truth. This is not your path. This is not it. And as scary as it was to keep trying to align myself with my internal compass, obviously, you know, you make all these decisions, but it's got to bring you back pointing due north, which leads me to where I am now, 48, child-free, and never been married. And honestly, with zero regrets.
Did you ever decide to freeze your eggs?
Yeah, the freezing.
Now, this is the second story that she told us that she didn't tell us the end. You said yes to the proposal, so what happened? I couldn't align. I'm going to tell you what she couldn't align with. She could not align with that man's order, with no man's order. Every man that really was buckling down, not a situationship, not a Louis see where it go, not none of that. A real honest to goodness, I'm gonna marry you, we gonna build something. Anytime a lion came along, them back feet, boy, were trying to get out of Dodge, baby. They were trying to get out of Dodge, baby. They were trying to get out of Dodge. She tried. See, that's what hyenas do. They try to get along with lions. And she said what it was. I told you what hyenas like about lions. They like the order. They like the security. They like the stability of lions. They can't shake them. And that's what they like about them, because that's the woman in them that likes that. The woman in them likes that. The hyena in them can't do it, though. She just demonstrated, without trying to, the difference between a hyena and a lioness. The woman in her, hear what I say, the woman in her loved that stability. That's why hyenas be trying to get up with lions. They know they don't really like lions because lions have too much order. But it's that very order that brings the stability. It's that order. The problem is that hyena stuff be in their blood. Okay, it be in their spirit. It's in their spirit. And they cannot align that spirit with one of divine masculine. They cannot align to divine masculine. They can't do it. Especially if they got a lion that's operating in some type of righteousness or some type of, he trying to do right thing. They can't align. I couldn't align with myself. No. You couldn't align yourself with him. Way too much order. It's too much like right. That's what old folk mean when they say that. That's too much like right. It would have been too much like right for her to align herself with this man. She was going to consistently fall out of alignment. The marriage wasn't going to last no way. This is the deal with hyenas. They can't do it. And lionesses do. We do it and we can do it. I'll go a step further to say that we like to do it. My baby said her problem is in the name of the show, Hot and Bothered, with Melyssa Floyd. She too busy being hot and bothered to take anything serious. I'm done. That's the difference between a lioness and a hyena. We lionesses can get under some type of order, even if we've been in chaos and out of order for a long time. We like the order, though. We actually be trying to do our best to keep order, the quiet as it's kept. But when we meet that husband that's gonna do that, we fall right into his arms. See, when a lioness want to be saved, that's what saving us is. Saving a lioness is saving us from our own chaos, because we know we're not gonna be able to get the best even out of ourselves without good leadership. So we don't be wanting to be saved from a whole life. We don't be wanting to be saved financially. Give me some kind of financial thing that I can't do. And you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be a bum and lay up on some man, and he got to save me by paying all these bills. And, you know, I'm so busy making the worst decisions in life. And now I need some man to come rescue me of these bad decisions that I keep making. No. Hyenas need to be rescued out of the boneyard. The boneyard gets so crazy. You see what I'm saying? The boneyard sometimes get too crazy for them. And they be trying to get a breather. But that's the problem. Hyenas want a breather from the boneyard. They're gonna go back. That man that she just got through describing was a breather. He was a breather from the boneyard. He brought her up on Pride Rock. She got to see what it is to not live in the elephant boneyard and stuff like that. It was a breather. But the boneyard calls. And when it calls, they answer. She just couldn't take no order. Don't like no order. Don't want to be brought to no order. It's a little bit of a respite from the hustle and bustle of the boneyard. You know, they trying to take a nap from out the boneyard. Never did say who left who within that last relationship. Did he figure out you was a bop? That what it was? Now she ain't got no regrets. I just bet. Is that why you telling us all these stories? See, you tell stories when you ain't over them. You tell a sad story when you're still wrestling with it and tussling with it, you know. And then you tell everybody the sad story. This is what happened to me. Woe is me. This what happened to my mama and then my daddy. And I didn't show up good in these relationships. But I was just young. And the other one, he whooping on my head top every 3 to 5 business days. That was that. But the D was real good, so that's why I stayed there. And the other guy, I would have wanted him. It seemed like he accepted I was a bop, but he didn't really want a bop, so I was mad. So we ended that off. A lot of excuses. I didn't hear accountability. Did you? I want her to talk about these check boxes, because this is what they think it's about.
Eggs conversation came up around mid-30s amongst myself and my girlfriends. It became something that just was a very trendy conversation to have. But if you know anything about freezing eggs, first of all, it's extraordinarily cost prohibitive. I was in the entertainment industry, and this is the way the entertainment industry goes. Feast, famine, feast, famine, feast, famine. Sometimes you're living high on the hog, and other times you are eating Ritz crackers and eating out of cans of tuna. A lot of times it's freelance work. You don't know when your next paycheck is going to come, and sometimes you will go a whole year without a job, and you are fighting to make ends meet and stretching $10,000 to last over the course of 6 months to a year. So freezing your eggs was a luxury. And now what we know about egg freezing is that it's not a guarantee that any one of them is going to be viable, or that even when they're implanted in your uterus, that they're going to, that it's going to take. So it really is a crapshoot. And it's also an extraordinarily painful process. When I said that God is not a woman, I mean it, because there is no way that a woman would put us through everything that we have to go through just to manifest our so-called fairy tales, or our fairy tale. And
you hear that, foolish man? You hear that, foolish man? And before I continue on, not the refrigerator kids. They Frigidaire babies. Is they Frigidaire babies? Whirlpool babies? Is she having Kenmore babies? Yeah, that foolish man. She just said she just blamed God. It was God. Because God puts women through a bunch of stuff. Who told women that we were supposed to not go through nothing? Where was that written? I need the book of where that was written so I can burn it. Where is that book? The one that Hyenas is apparently reading. It's a number one bestseller in the Boneyard about women ain't supposed to be going through nothing ever. Who said that? God ain't a woman because he put us through all the stuff he put us through. What is he putting you through? It sounds like a lot of you put yourself through. Again, reasons versus excuses. Because instead of thinking like that about the Lord of the world and everything in between, heaven and earth and everything in between, that's the one you need to be trying to turn to get your due north that you said you wanted to be pointed to. But instead, I guess he running the patriarchy. So you can't get nothing done here, neither here nor there. And all of that thoughting and popping you was doing, that wasn't a part of God. When you was having fun, God wasn't giving that to you. He wasn't giving you your money. All the good times that you thought you had, I guess God ain't had nothing to do with you feeling good. He only got something to do with you when you feel bad. Nobody told you to put that IUD and leave it in there for the next 19 years. And so your womb just said, forget it. Your womb just said, oh, she don't like us, y'all. We ain't producing not nan. Don't send nan another egg over here because she don't want them. Your ovaries put the, closed for business sign on there. They said, oh, well, we ain't supposed to be delivering no eggs out of here. We ain't delivering no egg out of here since time immemorial. When the last time we sent the egg out of here? These eggs done piled up. They crowded at the little entrance to the fallopian tubes. It's crowded. We won't send them down. The uterus is a toxic wasteland of medication and a lack of hormones. So we can't send them down there. And her womb said, well, okay, well then, Let her take it up with the Lord, because I don't know what she did to us, but she done messed us up. You heard what she said? Her body made the decision for her. I just bet it did. Because you were bouncing hard on them eggplants, and you know, you was having throat babies and everything. It was just a I mean, that nut was everywhere. You wasn't gonna be able to manage that no how. You know, it was in, it was out, it was on, it was off. So you needed that IUD, baby. You ain't had no time for no little condom, baby. We ain't got time to be putting that on, baby. I need a barrier. Okay. That's sad.
The choices that I ended up not making, pursuit of marriage and kids and this and that sort of thing, it wouldn't have cost me anything by way of disapproval of family. My mother was raised Catholic. She was a day girl in a convent. Her parents were from the Eastern European bloc. She lived in Europe until she was 15 years old when her family immigrated to.
Excuse me if I don't want to hear all of this.
Is religious at all, to the point where I literally told my mom, I was like, can I go to Catholic school? She was like, that doesn't really belong to you. You make your own choices. And so when it came to checking boxes, my mom had already decided what my daughter's life is for her to live. And I'm lucky in that way. Very, very lucky in that way. My mom gave me suggestions and she made observations, but they were always so subtle. And she always knew that I was going to do whatever I wanted to do, however I wanted to do it. And that was the end of the story. I was a very strong.
The reason that your mama handled you like that is because she didn't have good mothering skills in the first place. She didn't raise you right. She did not give you any tools to use to become a good woman. She knew that she did not do right by you. She failed you. And so because she knew she didn't give you any tools, she thought it would be very high-handed to now try to tell you what to do with yourself as an adult. She didn't give you the tools to do nothing. Look at the man she picked. So she knew she couldn't tell you nothing, and she kind of saw who you was. She knew what kind of fruit she bore. She understood what and how she nurtured it and the way in which she did that. Your mother understood her failing as a mother. Okay? So she would be real nice with you. Well, baby, you might not want to do that. And you might, well, baby, but you hard-headed. You hard-headed. And you probably told her on a couple of occasions to mind her business. And so because she thinking back to the guilt of I didn't give my daughter a good childhood, I can't say nothing. I can't say nothing to her. I see her going down a bad way, probably a similar choices in men, but I can't now give her nothing because she's not going to listen to me. She's not going to listen to me. She's not going to listen to anyone. And for all that, she was raised in a convent and a nun and all blah, 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 blah. She sure was fighting and scrapping with that Negro. You didn't tell no story about her, whimpering in no corner. You said she was about to bust him upside his head with a glass pitcher. They was in there fighting. That wasn't no battered woman. They were fighting. That's a difference.
Strong-willed child, strong-willed teenager, strong-willed young lady, strong-willed.
Didn't I just say she was hard-headed?
Adult woman. So I was never subject to those checked boxes, but I found myself in conversation over the years with many, many women that felt that pressure. And when it comes to those checked boxes, as it relates to marriage, I'm not sure if the vast majority of us go looking for these as factors in why we choose somebody. I think a lot of the times, as long as he's a good provider, that's the biggest check mark. Does he look good? Is he presentable? Do we have some things in common? Does he plan on being a good provider? Do we both want kids? Do we both want to get married? These are the things that people ask themselves, and this is what helps them make their decision. But they find out years into the marriage that it takes so much more to make a marriage successful than just those things. One of the main things that I think is missing from a lot of people deciding on getting married is how much of a friendship have you built with this person? Because like outlasts love 1,000% of the time. Through the course of my career and just life in general, I have spoken to so many successfully married couples, and success means that they still like each other decades later. That's success. They still wake up and want to participate in this partnership. That is success. And that's what they say, that like is more substantial than love. And looking back on my relationships, I realized that like was not high on my list of priorities. And that's probably the reason for failures. So before I sign off, I saw something.
Like, because you didn't like nobody and you were unlikable. That's an interesting point. Like was not high on her priority list because she didn't like those men. She lusted after them. And she liked that they lusted after her. But she didn't really like the ones that so-called liked her. She was unlikable. She knew she was unlikable. He knew she was unlikable. That's ultimately why she would sabotage them relationships. I don't know why you want me. I am nothing but a big butt and a smile. And I know that. I know that. I'm a big butt, I'm a smile. You can take me somewhere and somebody be like, man, that's you. And you be like, yeah, man, that's me. But not really, because I've been thotting all around the industry and all I like is industry men. So when y'all all come together, how many men in the room have had me? So can you really be proud? Can you really bring me somewhere and not have the whole room sniggling and giggling behind your back? Because I done did a menage with all of them. I don't do nothing for you. I don't even hardly like you. And you want me. Because what has she said about herself that was good? Almost an hour. Almost an hour she been telling us all these things that's not our business. And she ain't saying not one good thing about herself. She think sitting up there talking about how hard-headed she was a good thing. I'm strong. No, you're hard-headed. You're hard-headed. And hard head has made a soft behind. She ain't said one good thing about herself. She said she was fine. That's not a character trait. A lot of that is genetics. You ain't had nothing to do with that. That was your mom and daddy's genes came together. You a cheater and you're a liar in these relationships. You said you was a cheater. You said you was a liar. You front and cap. You said you was a whore. Now, in a hyena's mind, this is all good. These are the good traits. Oh, y'all don't hear me. In the boneyard, these are the good traits. I know how to pop that thing, and I can get money off of these ninjas, and girl, I know how to play the game, girl. That's supposed to be good. It's good till it ain't, right? She ain't said one good thing. She has not said one good thing about her own character. Now you can't be likable and you can't say one good thing about yourself. You talking about yourself now. Then you want to talk about how these marriages ain't really, I had folks that go, and these marriages and they wasn't all of that good. Now sour grapes because you can't do it. So now it wasn't all that good it wasn't that, wouldn't have been that good anyhow had I been able to get married. It wouldn't have been turned out too good. This one a mess.
On Instagram that I wanted to read today. It says, marriage is the lowest paid form of sex work. Women are owed reparations. The people we lay with are the people who are most likely to kill us, which sounds really dark, but that's the reality we're living in. The reality is women have lost their lives in pursuit of men. Women have lost their futures in pursuit of love. I think we all need to really sit down and ask ourselves as individuals, what does love actually mean for me? And what in my life resembles that? Does the man that I've chosen resemble that love that I want and deserve? The traditional idea of love is damaging for women because it involves us being self-sacrificial in order to prove our worth. Men need to learn to find sustenance, entertainment, and sexual gratification outside of women because we don't owe men that. We live in a society where men assign women humanity and worth based on how attractive they are to them. Men need to learn to find sustenance, entertainment, and sexual gratification outside of women because we don't owe men that deserved a repeat.
After you have been the sexual entertainment, that's a wild one right there. That's nasty work. That's nasty work right there. Then she coupled it with that Oprah music. Like my baby said, that epiphany music. That's that Oprah music. That that's that fix my life music that Iyanla played at the end after we done wrapped up. But Iyanla had them doing some work, at least for the music. You giving us music for hyena talking points. Talking about women don't owe men let me go back and read this foolishness. This right here. Men need to learn to find sustenance, entertainment, and sexual gratification outside of women because women don't owe them that. After a whole lifetime of being nothing but a man's plaything and getting your money and getting your rocks off. That's an interesting little tidbit you got right there, Miss Melyssa. After you ain't been nothing but booty shots and cum shots the whole time. Now you want to tell women that men need to find sustenance, entertainment, and sexual gratification. So you don't want the new girl to get no D or nothing outside of women. That's rich. That's rich. That's rich coming from a video vixen, and I'm being nice with the words. Perfect way to end off a whole hour of dodging accountability as a woman. It's damaging to women because it's called for being self-sacrificial. See, this is a hyena's mantra. This is the hyena manifesto right here. This is what this is. This is a hyena manifesto. How to be complete. Didn't I tell you they want to be completely useless to men? They want to be. I ain't never seen a group of women want to be useless. Want to be just of nothing, just no value or nothing. There has been no single destructive force to women more than feminism and the concept of feminism that we have seen in the modern age. There has been no other single concept that was more destructive to women than feminism. None, not one. You can't name me one. It took all of everything that made women women and threw it in the trash and said you don't need it because it's bad, because men can get a benefit out of it. We hate men so much that you being a woman, men get benefit out of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to say it's not women. You're not women. Women don't exist. The concept of women don't exist because men can get a benefit. You don't want to be worth nothing in your relationships. Self-sacrificial. Of course it is. That's why you're bad partners, but this is also why you bad mothers. I'm almost glad you ain't got no kids. Because for a woman, the thing that's supposed to teach you self-sacrifice above anything is mothering your children. Because your children don't give you no benefit. You're supposed to sacrifice everything for them. Even your life if it comes to it. You risk your life just to have them. And you don't want no relationship that call for you to be self-sacrificial. That's why you bum lovers and you bum mamas. Huh? That's why you ain't no good as a wife and you ain't no good as a mama. You just fail as a woman all the way around. In every aspect of womanhood, you fail because you don't want to sacrifice nothing of yourself for the greater good of others. You don't feel like you need to come up off of nothing, put no skin in the game nowhere. All the relationships you just told us about was your fault. And now it's the men. You know, we don't owe men anything after being a bop. After being a bop? Are you kidding me? Your whole thing was you bouncing on men. That's why we even know who you is. That's why we even know who you is today. You have not cured cancer. You have not led in the biggest industry of a modern age. You have not transformed the world with your knowledge and your intelligence. You have been bouncing on industry D for how long till you couldn't bounce on it no more, till they told you go ahead on somewhere. Now you sit on Joe Budden a podcast and get over talked by the men. Still trying to be around the industry men. And don't nobody want to have nothing to do with you because you're old now. Men that shouldn't have the entertainment after you've been a man's entertainment. How many teenage boys of your age era have rubbed one out looking at you? And now it's beneath you now. Really? 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 For real? This is real life? Now it's above you now. Girl, I'm too through with this little epiphany with the little Oprah music behind it. I'm done, baby. You can stick a fork in me now, because I am done. Do you understand me? I am through, baby. I am too through. With her little epiphany, baby, she put that up on the screen like she thought she ate with this foolishness. Oh, baby, bye. Now she want to go into self-love and all this kind of. I'll tell you, a whole final form is to try to get spiritual and religious. Let me get this foolish man off my screen. Somebody put the link for pctechforum.net. pctechforum.net. Somebody put that. Because I'm done. I'm done with Miss Ford today. Because ain't no way. Baby, ain't no way. She thought she ate, baby. She said, listen, look here. Thank you so much, Miss Nicole and Miss Mia. Let me read through these super chats. Because, baby, bye. Thank you, Twisted Gamer. Said hyena. Nah, that's a wildling, John and you grit. not a wildling. Thank you, Greg. Says salute, Kendra. It's really amazing a person's ability to come up with such great stories like Melyssa is presenting to us. Thank you, Miss Lou Casely, for your super stick. I appreciate you. Thank you, Jabrina. So this is for you just because. Keep up the great work. I appreciate you. Thank you, Twisted Gamer. Say, are you operating according to manufacturer instructions or not? My quote, the Crimson Cure. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you, Quiet Face, and thank you for an insightful commentary. You're hitting all the key points of contention in her story. We got your likes tonight. Staying tuned in for more. Thank you. I appreciate you, Quiet Face. And thank you as well, Supreme 10 said Melyssa Ford is saying all that nonsense for one reason. She's pushing 50, and Melyssa Ford is aged out of the dating, and she's comfortable being a backfoot hyena, and she's a broken female. Not the rundown on what's wrong with her. All right, we're gonna head out of here, but before we go,
join pt.2.net is a new site. It's a way we'll be discussing everything related to tech news. They'll be discussing the latest processors, graphic cards, laptops, hard drives, computer cases. They also have a section for pre-built PCs and custom-built PCs, and also a PC straight from the manufacturer. They also be discussing the operating systems and how to troubleshoot them. And said, last but not least, they'll also be discussing the latest games and business. The site is brand new, so people will join for the first time on there. So come and sign up today at pctechforum.net.
All right, for those of you who want to join, help the brother to get over 300 subscribers to his site. The link is at the top of the chat for pctechforum.net. This is for all things PC and related to that industry. So if you want to have those discussions, please go ahead and click the link and sign into the forum, which is free. Jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your hostess, The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.